Hey there YouTube, Travis here. It's time. Hopefully this is the video you've been waiting for. So if you haven't already guessed, this video is going to be a little different than a lot of the other ones I produce. In July 2015, myself, along with two of my great friends, Will and Anna, embarked on the Pinball Run 3 Gold Rush. Obviously this is the third incarnation of the Pinball Run, and it entailed a ride from Seattle to Imperial Beach, California, which is just outside of San Diego, and about 10 miles north of Tijuana, Mexico. This was about a week of riding and a pretty incredible journey for our 1977 JCPenney Pinto, which again, if you haven't been following, we converted to a mini Magnum over the past year leading up to. So the bulk of the work was undertaken at Chad Burke's Build and Gather in December of 2014. The sandblasting, powder coating, the strip down, Simon of the Ghost Riders doing the welding. Big thank you to him and also especially to Chad for hosting that event. This is going to be a day-to-day walkthrough of our journey, documenting the highs and the lows of this pretty terrific adventure. I know originally in the GoFundMe video I was hoping to be able to provide you guys with daily updates. After the first day, it became pretty clear that our team was barely going to have enough time to sleep, let alone be able to edit and upload videos. So I've decided to combine everything here into a nice viewing experience for you guys. So this story actually starts a week before the Pinball Run left Seattle. Three of my friends from the East Coast, Bert, Anna, and Drew, flew out and stayed with me in the tiny house here. They were sent by Rob Burrito to secure a chase vehicle. Here's what they found. Wow, it's a lot longer than I thought it would be, Bert.
That's right. I hear that often. What do you think?
Wow. Look at that, you got yourself a little CD player. Wow, someone upgraded this one. Yeah, this is what I really want to see. Oh my god. You fit all your friends in here. I ain't never been in no limo before. The Hilton in Reno.
Partition with the glass up.
Oh man.
Or full privacy.
Ooh, so we can do some funny stuff back here. Wow. This is amazing.
Everything freaking works.
This is easily going to be the best chase vehicle for Pinball Run.
We'll see.
This is crazy. I can't even, dude. It's pretty hard to top that chase vehicle. That limo served them very well. So, let's flash forward a little bit to Wednesday. I drove to Seattle to get the bike, which was being transported across the U.S. from Will's house in Pennsylvania by Bronwyn of Mono from New Orleans. It's here!
You're the Travis.
I'm the Travis.
That we
Bronwyn?
brought the blue Magnum for.
Good to meet you. Oh man, it's here, it's here, it's here.
We lost your engine, but...
Okay, that's fine. I don't need it. Oh man. Wow. It made it. So I'm here at Magic Touch Mopeds in Seattle. 2 days before pinball starts. Oh, I'm a little nervous about it. I don't think that my rebuild has more than 40 miles on it. Then again, there's this Tomos here, which is a new old stock Tomos, which only has 38 miles on it. I think it's 2012. Someone's got a cool looking General. It's mine again. What's on this Badavoos? Okay. That makes a little more sense. Wow. Alright, these Burritos bikes up top?
No, they're in the inside, I believe.
Oh my gosh, how many bikes are on here? Wow. Oh man, it's got the same janky roof rack that I have. Nice. The Rob Burrito sticker is definitely more fitting. And, alright there YouTube, well, it's been about 24 hours since I got back from Seattle. I have to work every day up until pinball, so my progress here is a little bit limited, but the bike is here on the West Coast, which is outstanding. Now, this ideally won't be the configuration we have once we get to the start line. Pretty much all I've done to it since I got it off that trailer is I tightened up the handlebars a little bit, threw some Gorilla Glue on the seat there because I ran out of time to get it reupholstered because pinball leaves tomorrow. And first thing in the morning, we're going to fire this thing up and see if the jetting that Will did on the East Coast is still good all the way out here on the West Coast. Just a quick refresher, I showcased this bike a little bit back in the winter, but this is its final incarnation, which includes just a real simple setup. We got a Treats 70 reed kit. Let me turn on the light here so we can see. A Treats 70cc reed kit, Mikuni VM20 carburetor mated to a nice weekend's intake, going to a Estral pipe right here, which is awesome. And of course, everything we've seen before, the powder coated frame, the really cool toggle kill switch we got here. One of the wires came out during travel, so I'm going to rewire that up. Speedo off the Kreidler, which goes up to 40 miles an hour, and is broken off so we can wrap it as many times as we want. Still has the snowflakes on it. I've got some Kreidler wheels which are basically ready to go. I replaced the sealed bearings in them, and I just gotta paint them and get some new tires on them, and they'll be ready to go on. Hopefully they fit without too much trouble. I've got some spacers, we'll see. All in all, yeah, pinball is almost nigh, and we're nowhere near ready. But you know what? To me, this is a fun thing, you know. When you're riding a moped, you should never take yourself that seriously. If you are, you're doing something wrong, and you're probably not going to enjoy it as much. So, the bike was retrieved Wednesday, and the pinball run left on Saturday. I was kind of hoping to be able to give the bike a good once-over since it had journeyed across the U.S. on a trailer rack, and also it still had the original snowflake wheels on them. And I just did not trust Puch snowflake mags for a journey of this length. Plus they got really thin axles, the brakes are not so good compared to other Puch wheels. So we're going to swap these awesome Kreidler wheels on it. Unfortunately, I didn't really have time to do that. I still had to work full days up through Friday. So at 2 a.m. Saturday morning, Will and I were still struggling to get those Kreidler wheels on. We had to grind down spacers, we were playing with washers, the brake assembly wouldn't slide in right into the forks. We only got the front one on for the first day. As you'll see in pictures and videos here, the rear wheel is still that snowflake mag. We didn't really get a chance to play with that until after the first day. So right around 2 we finished up, and by 2:30 we were at Alex's place sleeping on his roof, and we woke up a couple hours later to get ready for the pinball run. Okay, so this first day of Seattle, Washington to Portland, Oregon was probably the day where we faced some of our biggest challenges right here. So we're going to show some footage here of everybody getting ready to meet right before pinball run took off, right at the start line. Ride leaves in 5 minutes. Alright, hey there YouTube, Travis here. So we were at the pinball run start line. Here's our bike. We got one of 2 Kreidler wheels on it. Showed up at midnight to do a wheel swap. Finished around 1:45 in the morning with the front one. That was the important one anyway. Showed up to the start line and the bike really wouldn't run right. It was boggy. There's a big old air leak because the idle screw fell out of the Mikuni VM20. Moment of panic because this is a metric thread that nobody carries, but we found a bendy from a Bing which screws right in there, so I guess we're fine. Still not great, but it'll be good enough for today. There's Sabat's Geo and the limousine that Rob Burrito and his team are running over there. There's no way I can cover all these bikes in such a short amount of time, but I'm pretty pumped. Will's taking the first leg over there. Got Anna doing our navigational stuff. You don't need to worry about it until 2 p.m. But we'll just got a route. Good. I have the brightness all the way up on this in case you need it. Have your phone.
Are they trying to get out?
Holy moly! All this stuff came up at once. All right, it's just mopeds. All right, YouTube. Let's do this thing. Long story short, turns out the bendy part of a bing threads into that hole okay. I think it's a 0.75 pitch. And then we put a stud, like an intake stud or an exhaust stud, threaded into the bing bendy to stop the air leak, but obviously that idle screw has a protrusion and the bike was not really running right at all without it. Nevertheless, we took off. Alright, we're still early on in the ride. Everybody is still together for now. Still getting ready to leave Seattle. So I'm going to show a clip here from our first breakdown. Will had discovered that the rear wheel, one of the axle nuts, had become misadjusted or fallen off, and the rear wheel was rubbing. This was only the beginning of our problems with this rear wheel saga. Okay, very first breakdown, the rear wheel loosened up. Will, tonight we're going to throw the snowflake in a river.
Yeah.
So not really the most ideal place to break down, but Will only had 3 people pass him, and we're doing all right. We passed a lot of people broken down. This is a minor failure. Oh, dude, 412, that's not that bad.
No, it's not terrible, but I'm just not. So
we got about 20 miles outside of Seattle, and the bike really wasn't running right. You couldn't pedal it with that Estral pipe. It was slow going. Finally, it called it quits. We get chased out of a parking lot at a storage unit we stopped at by the owner, who didn't really like us there working on the bike, and we're behind a Chinese food restaurant, and that's where we discover our first set of reeds have pretty much packed it in. These are carbon fiber reeds. I'll show some pictures here. Install new reeds. Bike still isn't really running. It'll, you know, pop a couple times, but isn't starting. It's really hot out. Morale is starting to get a little low because it's like 2:30 in the afternoon and we've barely made any progress. This is not good. Okay, so we just got chased away from a public storage parking lot. We're off the side of the road somewhere here. And, well, first big problem of the day was we lost the idle mixture screw on the Mikuni VM20. And this uses a pretty unique metric pitch thread, so we had to, this is the top of a bendy of a bing and then some random screw that fit into that. The air filter fell off, that's what's left of that. We didn't realize that until after we had exited a highway which we had gotten on accidentally. Will probably wants to kill me over there right now, oh man. Right now we're trying to chase what hopefully is just an air leak because this thing will not run anymore. There were some minor air leaks in the bottom, but let's take a look at these reeds. Oh, wow. Oh my goodness. Woo-wee.
Yeah, those are still good.
Whew. Alright, well, we got some new reeds. We checked pretty much everything and just kind of discovered that it must be a bottom end seal in the motor. So it's time to put our replacement engine on 20 miles into the Pinball Run. At this point, we're all pretty nervous about this, but we do it. The motor goes on, off the bike goes. So we're still here. Had another problem. bottom end seal is gooping everywhere. So we're putting our backup motor on. We've gone about an hour and a half on the first day. Woo! We get probably about another 15-ish miles down the road, and I'm riding the bike at this point. Things are not looking good. We're facing two major problems. The first is that the bike is only really running at one throttle position. I put a lot of this blame on not having that idle mixture screw at all in the carb. Also, the rear wheel is dragging on the swing arm really badly. It's actually burning off the sidewall of the tire, and the tolerances are so minor we can't even get it adjusted. It's pretty bad, and it's not a problem of our chain length. It's, as we discover a little bit later down the line, we just don't have enough spacers for our custom Kreidler wheel, so that we're compressing the swing arm without even really realizing it when we tighten down on the axle nuts. Again, I wish we'd had a little bit more time to kind of get this bike really finished before pinball, but a lot of people also did not really have finished bikes when Pinball Run started, so that's not much of an excuse at all. Okay, YouTube, well, this is going to conclude day one. We're rolling up to Sabatino's shop. If you noticed, we're not on a moped anymore. That would be a right turn here. We hit a point where we were really only about a third of the way there. It was already 5 o'clock and having a lot of motor problems and also rear wheel problems, which I'll kind of dictate a little bit later, but this will be the end of our first day. Because of the fact that, you know, the bike needed work, we didn't have any time, and it was like 6 o'clock, and we would have been riding probably well past midnight if we could have even gotten down the road safely. We made a decision as a team to load the bike in the car and drive the rest of the way to Portland. Here's why. Everyone was meeting at Sabatino Vintage Moped and Scooter. This would be an opportunity to have tools. We could get our hands on some spare parts. Ideally, and we did, get a new idle mixture screw from a Mikuni VM20 from my good friend Jesse Edge. But it was really unfortunate. I will promise you guys that this is the only day we DNF'd. The moped made it the entire rest of the way from Portland to San Diego. I'm really bummed about it, but it was the correct decision, and I still stand by it. Okay, so day 2 is Sunday, July 19th. We went Portland to Coos Bay, aka North Bend, they're very, very close, Oregon. This was an awesome day. Will, being the genius that he is, got that rear wheel perfect. We got that Mikuni idle mixture screw in there. We put a dab of Loctite in it because we were super paranoid, and that's a huge no-no for a carb adjustment, but this didn't matter. It was Pinball Run. Off we went from, Portland, Oregon. The bike had 0 issues. Oh my gosh, it was incredible. Tons of power. We were running so good. I think we have a good couple pictures here from when we finally hit the coast, and we were just cruising. There's honestly not too much to talk about this day. It was 215 miles. We got in at 8:58 p.m. and I think we were staying at Terry Dean's brother's place in Coos Bay. And I think I got some footage. They had a television in their living room where they had the Glimpse GPS tracker on, and we were all watching Sabat go the wrong way. He finally came back and found it, though. We got in, it was kind of dark, so a lot of the footage for this day is actually going to show up on tomorrow's day.
Didn't make the turn, but was like, alright. That's in full. I was going through that forest or whatever. I was like, first place, I need to stop.
Super fucking proud of you, man.
Out of
Hey-o! Figure out.
That road is awesome. It'll show up in 10 hours.
Okay, good morning YouTube, Travis here. So, this is the morning of day 2 of Pinball Run. Probably wondering why this update's coming a little bit late. We'll get to that here in a second. So we've had pretty good luck thus far, and by pretty good luck I'll say our first day was terrible and it didn't have too much time to film. And our second day, yesterday, went awesome. I guess this is the morning of day 3. It's been a pretty wild ride thus far. Okay, so day 3 is Coos Bay to the Humboldt Redwood Forest in California. So we had an awesome day the previous day. So of course, we were due for some problems. That morning, the bike, which had been forming perfect the night before, started it up, it really wasn't running right at all. Just lots of bog. We were just concerned. Will's like, we just need to downjet it. So we threw a 165 main jet in there from a 180. We didn't have a 170 or 175, so that's just the closest we had. And off I went. And we probably got about 10 miles out of town before the bike shut off. This was going to prove to be quite the challenge. So we did a lot of troubleshooting, and it's another hot day, but at least it's beautiful. Finally, we take off the intake and discover our reeds have bitten it again. This is a little concerning. This is another set of fiberglass reeds, and we're just like, what the heck? You know, I mean, there's a good gasket in there. There's no air leaks. They're just single pedal reeds. So, thus begins a journey through Coos Bay, Oregon, to try and find some reed material. We went to a chainsaw shop, which they told us we don't do much two-strokes anymore. They did have two-stroke chainsaws, but all their weed eaters were four-stroke, which was interesting. They were no help. 2 auto parts stores had nothing for us. And finally, we go to an ATV shop, and we luckily talk to the right guy. There's this older gentleman working there who comes out, and he says, I haven't seen something like this in a long time. He goes in the back, rummages through their used parts, comes out with a piece of like a 4-pedal reed block, and must have been a 2-pedal actually, and he says, you can have this for $1. So I gave him $1. We went back to Will. Ann and I were in the car, and Will was patiently waiting there. Cut up the reed. It was a fiberglass reed material. Drill some holes, install it, bike fires right up, away we go again. This wasn't quite the end of our problems, though. The bike isn't really going as fast as it should have, and at one point we're just barely getting up hills, and we get to the top of the hill, and we're like, what the heck is up with this thing? Eventually, one of us looks at the sidewall of the tire, and it's, you know, like, nope, this thing is still rubbing on the swing arm. So Will and I sat there on the side of the road, and we fiddled with those 2 adjuster nuts for so long. Finally, we get the wheel to the point where it's just barely clearing on either side of the swing arm, and we're good to go again. At least for now. We suffered a lot of delays this day, though. What kind of made up for it was the incredible scenery we passed. I mean, it was just beautiful. But it quickly got dark. At one point, I was on the bike for so long. We pull up to this gas station, and we had gone 83 miles. And just the cold wind, and there was some, you know, not rain, but there was just mist in the air. And, I mean, I was just shaking. It was incredible. We rolled in at 9:45, but you know what? We rolled in. I don't have a lot of footage of us arriving. Again, the next morning I do a little bit of shooting around the camp, so you'll get to see kind of what our stay at the Humboldt Redwood Forest looked like then. Okay, so this is Tuesday, July 21st. This is the Humboldt Redwood Forest, just San Francisco, California. So, right before we left, about 15 minutes before the ride is to depart, Will and I decided it's probably a good idea to really lock down this rear wheel situation for good. We busted into some spacers, which were part of a axle that was graciously donated by Dan Kastner of 1977 Mopeds. We found some spacers on that, and we really got this thing solid. So, we're off.
Drive. I wish I had a sports car, not a business
trunk. Early on in the day, we faced a lot of really curvy roads, and you know, they were fun, but you know, our philosophy was the chase is always around the moped. You know, we were always super close. We were in front or behind it. We stuck with it. And when we were on these roads, there really weren't any places to turn off. And so, you know, if we happened to get stuck going up a hill real slowly, a big line of cars started piling up behind us, and it got a little tense. Some people got a little frustrated by that.
And nobody behind them. That's pretty good. Dude, he's moving. Thank God we fixed that wheel.
But, you know, it was just beautiful scenery. The only real casualty of today were the wires that go to the taillight and the brake light. Those got shredded at some point. That was something we fixed the next morning. Not a big deal. We were flying. Big props go out to Anna. She rode for like 3 hours, like at the very end. I mean, we were just going. She took the Golden Gate Bridge and we flew into San Francisco. It was outstanding. Man, hey there YouTube, Travis here. So it is day 4 of the Pinball Run. Will and I are in the car. We're DNFing right now from the rules standpoint because Anna's riding, but she is killing it on that bike. These roads are beautiful. Pacific is right there. This might be an inlet. But we're on Highway 1 right now. It is amazing here. It is just truly beautiful. The bike is running so well. Golden Gate Bridge, San Francisco. Doing it. Come on, little bike. Come on. Oh, that poor little clutch. Come on. Come on. Come on.
Anna's been killing it.
Dude, she's doing so good. I am so proud.
Golden Gate Bridge, no cash?
Come on, Annabelle.
We're still recording.
Good.
Yep, we're gonna get all of this.
So that's our backup motor, which we don't have our jammer clutch and our roller bearing clutch bell in, and it's pulling 35 up this insane hill, which is ridiculously commendable. So that's our 2-shoe, which is, if the pads aren't roasted, brass bushing in there definitely is.
It's been abused. It's taken it.
Oh yeah. It said lane ends merge left, but I haven't
There's
seen.
the bay. I can see Alcatraz. Oh, we lost it. Probably didn't catch it on the camera, but
maybe after the tunnel? Jump to light speed. Listen to that 2-stroke.
I tried to hit her ass.
I see her, I see her.
Alright, there's the bridge.
There's the Golden Gate Bridge.
There's San Francisco.
Cue the team from Full House.
Yeah.
Come on, little bike. Come on, we're so close to San Francisco. Killing it. Steady, steady, steady as she goes. Oh, the wind.
Okay, yeah, slow down there. Alright.
Okay.
Whoa.
Changing tires prohibited, noted. Golden Gate Bridge.
At a foggy San Francisco.
Yep. Nope, actually the speed limit's 45. Turn these off. We're doing almost that.
Yeah, we're doing okay. She's got to watch the wind.
The wind is gonna blow like crazy.
Careful, Anna.
Come on. Come on. I'm trying to keep close enough that nobody passes in front of us. Come on. Moped. Pookie 50. Oh man, she is killing it.
Gotta keep going a good 50 miles an hour.
Outstanding. Speed limit 35. All right. Maybe we'll be okay. All right, we're reaching the end of the bridge here.
There's our toll.
All right. Take her out of gear. Okay. Now we're on to Wednesday, July 22nd. San Francisco to San Luis Obispo, California, a distance of 275 miles. This was another big challenge day for the team. So we left San Francisco, bike is performing great, and we reach a point though where we stopped to just take a regular break, and we're looking at the bike and we realize that this rear sprocket is pretty not okay. Long story short, the first couple days we were running a very tight chain just so we could get that rear wheel and tire to fit in that swing arm without rubbing, you know? And it's funny, you just don't think of things in terms of, wearing that quickly, but instead of, I would do something like that for a bike that gets ridden, maybe 20 miles a week, but we were pounding, 500-600 miles on this thing at this point. And this rear sprocket is pretty not okay. When your, sprocket starts looking like chocolate chips, it's not good. Plus, the seat where the sealed bearing sits was cracked, and oof, it made us all pretty nervous, but we just really didn't have much of a choice at that point except to press on, so we did. Now, as you'll see, we're passing through wine country, which is very beautiful, but also extremely windy, and it actually made riding pretty difficult. I was at the helm at this point, and it was just super windy, you couldn't even talk. It was just so loud, it was just everywhere. It also didn't help that at this point, the pedal chain tensioner completely locked up. The pedals started hitting my feet, boom, 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 boom. So we took the pedal chain off, and from there on out, we no longer had the ability to pedal. At one point even, while we're in wine country, we came across a down power line. It was very very stereotypical, flying all over the ground, sparking, and we decided to turn around and take a different route. This was pretty challenging. So in the evening, I think this must have been 5 or 6 o'clock at night, we're going up this enormous hill. Will's riding the bike. All of a sudden, he's not going up that hill anymore. The bike just revs and nothing happens. We discover that, this was our backup engine, remember, which had, the regular 2-shoe, I think we had kickstart springs in it, and we take that clutch cover apart. I'm going to let the video and pictures speak for themselves. Okay, YouTube, it's the day of San Francisco to SLO, San Luis Obispo. I'm going to stretch a Highway 1 right here. Clutch finally packed it in. It is completely black, everything, the bell, the starter plate, and there's no friction material left on this thing whatsoever. It is gone. So right now we're going to put the jammer clutch in as soon as we get the brass bushing off the crank.
It's a little roasted.
Ooh. Oh man. It's going to be a late night tonight. So of course, while we're out there, we get to throw in our Treats jammer clutch and our roller bearing clutch bell done by Maze, which is an improvement over the brass bushing clutch bell that comes stock in a Pookie 50. So we were super worried there we wouldn't be able to get that brass bushing off. Finally, Will tries so hard he breaks one of my screwdrivers, but he gets it. Jammer clutch goes in, off we go. We're going again. We make it. Everyone has left the destination spot at this point. We made it to San Luis Obispo at 9:56 p.m. This is another 12-hour day. This is a lot. So we go straight. We had a hotel that night. And in this hotel room, you know, we decide to take apart the top end. There was a very faint knocking that had started. And we just wanted to see what's up. And, you know, we'd been beaten on this bike with no trail tech. You know, the timing in our jetting, I think, saved us because this top end looked pretty immaculate. We had the timing almost at fully retarded and jetting on the very rich side. So thankfully, the top end looked great. But we really wanted to nail down that knocking. So everything seemed to be okay. There wasn't a whole lot of play in the piston. There was some, but it felt all right. But regardless, we had a spare piston, wrist pin, circlips. So we just threw that on there, put the top end back together, no more knocking. So some of that stuff must have been slightly out of tolerance. So now we're up to Thursday the 23rd. San Luis Obispo to Los Angeles, California. We got up early that morning, did some laundry, got some quick breakfast at a Denny's, and off we went on the road again. And we were cruising pretty well until the bike totally shut off again on us. But we broke down in one of the most beautiful places possible. Of course, it turns out our reeds had given up the ghost again. Looking at them, the carbon fiber reeds had split. And these fiberglass reeds, well, they were kind of hanging low a little bit. It's kind of like they didn't have the tension anymore. So we cut another piece of reed and drilled the holes and installed it, and bike ran great again. So off we went. A lot of big hills today. You know, we actually got to Los Angeles around 5:30, but we were stuck in traffic for like 2 hours. It took 2 hours to go 10 miles. I mean, sure, it was, rush hour, but it did definitely take a while. So we arrive at a bar and we're treated with great hospitality by the Woolly Bullies of Los Angeles, and Will and I conked out pretty early. We're getting pretty exhausted at this point. Friday, July 24th, Los Angeles to San Diego, Imperial Beach. 145 miles. We had no problems this day. We had no problems at all, and I am so happy about that. The bike did great. There's not a whole lot to say about this except, man, we made it. We all met up at a grocery store parking lot in the morning, and I don't have that much footage from this day because the bike didn't really have any problems. It ran well enough. At this point, the brakes were pretty much nothing. That was just a couple problems there. The cables were messed up and the wheels were a little messed up too, the brake hub. But didn't matter. We finished. We were all so happy to make it to the end. It was a heck of a journey. I just wish I had more media for you guys. I can show you all of us rocking out on the way to the hotel in my car, but beyond that, I don't have too much for you. So, this was pretty big. Unfortunately, we didn't formally place because of that DNF the first day, but we worked really hard at this thing, and it was something pretty powerful to be a part of. There were about 25 teams total. Everybody who was part of the Pinball Run was super nice. It was wonderful to meet all these different people. It was 7 days, about 1,700 miles depending what routes you took, about 233 miles a day. Ours, of course, was slightly lighter, not counting Seattle to Portland, but I'm not going to dwell on that too much. It was a big challenge for all three of us. Just so much problem solving, so much just times we wanted to give up, but we pushed on. I'm especially proud of the bike. I've been using that to rock around my city here, and It's been wonderful. I sourced a whole new rear wheel. I just got kind of sketched out by that bearing seat. So I found another rear Kreidler mag, and the bike is all back together, and it's running wonderfully. All of our problems were super manageable. You know, it was an incredible experience, and I hope that they continue to do these pinball runs. I know after 3, their planners and organizers are probably getting a little exhausted, but it was extremely well worth doing. A moped was never ever supposed to go that far like that, and we did it, especially with a bunch of aftermarket parts on it. I want to give a special shout out here to anybody who contributed to our GoFundMe. I'm super grateful for you guys. That actually helped us a ton. And you know, I'm hoping that, you know, we can take some of the lessons that Will and I learned on this trip and apply them to future videos, or you know, maybe you can get something out of this video or any of our other ones. I know some of you guys are longtime viewers and some of you guys are kind of new, and I just appreciate you guys watching, and I want you to know that there's going to be a lot more to come. This is really fun, and no matter what, if you enjoy riding the little bike, don't let anything stop you. Okay there, YouTube. Until next time.